What's up, YouTube? This is Mathways97, and welcome to episode number 28 of my WWE 2K16 Universe Mode. We're coming off of the Night of Champions pay-per-view here on Monday Night Raw, and kicking off this show is the Lunatic Fringe, Dean Ambrose. And boy, is this going to get intense very quickly, because Dean Ambrose, he is one pissed-off son of a bitch, let me tell you that, folks. Pardon my French, but Dean Ambrose coming off of his loss to Seth Rollins last night in the steel cage match, and then assaulted afterwards by, well, you'll hear from Dean Ambrose here shortly about all that went down, but I mean, Dean Ambrose, he is not a happy camper, folks. Let's see what he has to say. I'm not out here to try to sugarcoat the pile of crap left on my plate after Night of Champions. Last night, Seth got away, and I got my ass kicked. But for now, Seth, I'll let you dance to your own vindictive melody, but don't think for a single moment that I'm through with you. Our war is only just getting started. For now, though, I've got a score to settle with those two morons who thought it was a good idea to lay out old Dean Ambrose last night. I'm sure they're somewhere in this building tonight just waiting to get the jump on me like the spineless cowards they are. So let's get it over with. I'm not sure who you're trying to impress, but your little stunt has pissed me the hell off. You want to fight me? Let's do this right now!
Ain't that just the most adorable sound you ever heard, Murphy? Raw's fierce terrier just keeps yapping away. Would you call him a terrier?
Nah, Blake, I think you're thinking of a chihuahua.
Ah, yeah, that's what I was thinking of. A chihuahua. Look, all jokes aside, Murphy and I will be down there shortly to repeat last night's performance. But first we want to make our intentions very clear. We're not looking to impress anyone.
What Blake and I did last night was little more than a display of gratitude for our inspiration, Seth Rollins.
See, Seth Rollins did what most people wouldn't have had the guts to do. He threw his allies under the bus so he could ascend to even greater heights. Seth Rollins is the true example of what a WWE superstar should be.
What was that? It's kind of tough to hear you when your lips are puckered up to Seth's ass. Look, I don't give a damn about why you attacked me last night. All I know is tonight, I'm gonna flatten Blake's face like a pancake, and then I'm gonna kick Murphy's ass back to Australia. So just come down to this ring before I have to go back there and drag you out here myself. And it's just as I suspected, folks. This episode of Monday Night Raw is getting very intense, very quickly. And here come the two men who, well, quite frankly, they decimated Dean Ambrose last night at Night of Champions. And they're coming down here like a pair of dubstep cowboys. We got Blake and Murphy, formerly NXT Tag Team Champions, and now they are here on the main roster here on Monday Night Raw. Paul Heyman's two newest acquisitions certainly made a huge name for themselves last night at Night of Champions. And just a brief few moments from their first appearance, they made a name for themselves. They put themselves on the map. And, well, tonight they have earned the wrath of the Lunatic Fringe, Dean Ambrose. We're about to have what appears to be a handicap match set to take place. Well, we weren't expecting this match to kick off the show, but seems as though that's exactly what's going to happen right now. Dean Ambrose, he cannot wait to tear these two men apart, but considering the damage done to Dean Ambrose last night on a part of Seth Rollins as well as Blake and Murphy, I don't know if Dean Ambrose is going to be able to live up to the hopes, the aspirations he has set for himself tonight. There's no way Dean Ambrose is at 100%. And to take on two men at once, well, Dean Ambrose, this might be in over his head, but he doesn't care. Lunatic Fringe, Dean Ambrose, looking to take both Blake and Murphy to the Ambrose Asylum tonight. And really, I mean, ever since Ambrose has been branded that Lunatic Fringe, has been a bit questionable, I'd say, why he was nicknamed that, because, in my opinion, everything that has been done to him thus far has earned this, quite frankly, psychopathic mentality, this revenge that he's out to get, I think has been completely justified thus far. But, I mean, to come out here tonight and ask for this match against two opponents when Ambrose might only, at best, be at 50%, that's crazy. And now I get why they've been calling him the Lunatic Fringe. This have to say is definitely the act of justification that I've been kind of waiting for ever since he was really branded as such. But right now, I mean, quickly you can see the match has turned into the favor of Blake and Murphy. What a tag team move there. And now Murphy going into the cover here. 1, 2. No, but a kick out by Dean Ambrose at 2. And as I did previously mention, Blake and Murphy are former NXT Tag Team Champions. They defeated the Lucha Dragons to claim the Tag Team Championships. So they've got history as a successful tag team. And lately we've been seeing a lot of new tag teams really step up to the plate. Although the Ascension continues to reign supreme as our tag team champions. But even more so, we've brought back the Wyatt family recently. Other teams really starting to stand out. As look at this. Dean Ambrose clotheslines Murphy over the top rope. And now spears Blake off the ropes. Dean Ambrose, he's turning things around, going up to the top rope. Look out below Murphy. Ambrose, well, for the most part, he missed that elbow drop. And that's really why I wonder. No, I can't even wonder. This is just, I don't know. It was not a good decision tonight by Dean Ambrose. So look at this. Double team move there from Blake and Murphy. I was wondering whether Ambrose, what type of condition he would be in tonight. But obviously, this is not a match he should have taken. I mean, if he wasn't in the condition that he's in right now, perhaps he would have nailed that elbow drop off the top rope. But right now, who knows if he suffered some sort of a concussion last night against Seth Rollins. His brains have got to be scrambled following the effects of last night's steel cage match. You got to think his equilibrium, he's going to be a bit off balance. So would he have made that elbow drop on a normal night? I'd say yes, he would have. Beautiful tag team move there from Blake and Murphy. The cover now by Blake. 1, 2. No, another kick out by Ambrose. But come on, referee. You got to get Murphy out of the ring here. This is uncalled for. Well, Murphy dumped out of the ring. Ambrose with a bulldog. Somehow, some way, Dean Ambrose continues to fight back despite the disadvantage he is at the moment. And right now, Wesley Blake is in some trouble. Dean Ambrose stomping a mud hole in. And now a spear again to Buddy Murphy. Dean Ambrose, he is just opening up a proverbial can of whoop ass on both of these two men. Drops the elbow there onto Blake. And certainly Dean Ambrose, he is not done with Seth Rollins by a long shot. He mentioned that earlier. But tonight, Dean Ambrose, he is fully focused on Blake and Murphy. That is for sure. He has to be. He cannot afford to have Seth Rollins in the back. He's got to shove Seth Rollins way into the back of his mind. He cannot afford to have Seth Rollins on the brain at the moment. Otherwise, he's going to get destroyed by Blake and Murphy. At the moment, though, Dean Ambrose is the one dishing out the punishment. He's got that look in his eye. Suicide dive through the ropes to take out Wesley Blake. Beautiful offense there from Dean Ambrose. Somehow he's still managing to pull off this high-risk offensive despite the damage he suffered last night at Night of Champions. And I gotta think, this is just Dean Ambrose's pure willpower that is keeping him going at this stage in the game. Any normal man would have been completely obliterated by this point, but from these two talented competitors. Murphy now suplexed into the ring. Dean Ambrose taking it to both Blake and Murphy. And look at this, Dean Ambrose unloading on Wesley Blake there. Buddy Murphy trying to make it back to his feet. Dean Ambrose there going after Wesley Blake again. Murphy's going to have to get out of the ring here. Referee has to keep control of the situation. Now Murphy again knocked off the ropes by Ambrose. Dean Ambrose, he is just unleashing hell on these two men. Oh, but there's a jawbreaker by Murphy. By Blake, I should say. And there's a huge haymaker shot there. Dean Ambrose, this is the problem, though. With it being a 2-on-1 handicap match, Dean Ambrose dividing up his assault on both men gave Blake just enough time to come up with a counter there to catch Dean Ambrose off guard. And now Blake looking to make a tag into Buddy Murphy. I mean, so far, Dean Ambrose has managed to take out both men, which is an incredible feat in its own right. Look at this! That's the move that Ambrose got laid out with last night at Night of Champions, and now Murphy, he knows he's got this in the bag, but not opting to go for the pin. Murphy, he wants to make Ambrose suffer tonight. Takes him down with a spinning neck breaker. And you gotta think, if Murphy and Blake are out here to perhaps do the dirty work for Seth Rollins, whether or not they're working for him. Look at this, a senton. Whether or not these two men are specifically working at the behest of Seth Rollins, they would like to assert that they are not. Whether that is true or not, we have yet to determine. But if they are out here tonight to do the dirty work for Seth Rollins, that is just what they are looking to do. Shot to the arm there from Blake. And Ambrose again whipped into the corner. This is where the tag team fundamentals begin to take over. Blake and Murphy utilizing their numbers game to take advantage. As I see, looks as though Blake had been busted open. Oh, but he takes him down with a brain buster. And now Murphy, frog splash from the top rope. What a beautiful sequence there. And unfortunately, that's gonna finish. Yes, that 3 count. That's what it's gonna do. Blake and Murphy, the writing was on the wall from the beginning of this match. Ambrose did not stand a chance in this match. But look at this. Final moments of this matchup. Beautiful tag team combination. That brainbuster from Blake. And then Murphy, frog splash from the top rope. It's no wonder these two men are former NXT tag team champions. They have the ability, that's for sure. Blake, you can see there, the busted open cut on his skull. Wearing the damage of this matchup. And even so, the fact that Ambrose was able to inflict that much damage on these two men is really a testament to Ambrose's will alone. But in the end, Ambrose falls short. Well, this is more like it. We are back here now on Monday Night Raw here in Universe Mode, and this is where we're actually going to be able to see the match card for this episode. I know we had a bit of that. We had that to take care of moments ago. But we are going to be seeing King of the Ring participants in action as Zack Ryder will go one-on-one with Curtis Axel in what was supposed to be the opening matchup tonight. As you already saw, Blake and Murphy picking up the victory over Dean Ambrose in that handicap match. Connor of the Ascension picks up a victory over Adam Rose, building momentum towards King of the Ring as well. Alberto Del Rio defeats Booker T. Damian Sandow scores a win over R-Truth, two men who just fell short of qualifying for King of the Ring. And in the main event, Captain Charisma Christian goes one-on-one with the #1 contender for the World Heavyweight Championship at Battleground, Randy Orton. And speaking of King of the Ring, Christian will also be involved in that tournament. He will be in the first round matchups. And we will be getting an exclusive look at the King of the Ring, official King of the Ring brackets next week. As on main event, the next episode of Universe Mode, we will have the final 2 qualifying matches to determine who will be involved with the King of the Ring tournament. We have 1 match from SmackDown, 1 from Raw. And in case you've been keeping track of the numbers, you're probably wondering, well, that makes 6 from Raw. Well, actually, that would make 7 from Raw at the moment, so what's the deal? We have 8 who are going to be total from SmackDown. Why does Raw only have 7? Well, on a previous episode of SmackDown, I did mention that there will be an official, not an official, but Paul Heyman has made an announcement. Took a little while to actually bring to news on Monday Night Raw. It was only recently made just before the Night of Champions pay-per-view, which by this point on my channel has been almost a month, but my point is, Paul Heyman has announced that there will be a special guest participant in the King of the Ring tournament on the Monday Night Raw side of things. So, there you go. That's our 8th man. Who is it going to be? We do not know, but Paul Heyman assures that it is a former WWE legend and a former Raw superstar. So, we will have to wait and see who that is going to be. Definitely some exciting news there from Paul Heyman. Of course, he brought in Blake and Murphy last night at Night of Champions, new superstars to the roster. Have to assume that Paul Heyman is going to have even more superstars to bring to the roster to combat the new attitude of Lita, who claims that she's going to grab every single free agent that's available to her before Paul Heyman even gets the chance. Although I'm sure, knowing Paul Heyman, he's got an ace up his sleeve. He's got something in his back pocket. But now to bring in another legend as well. That's going to be exciting. King of the Ring just is 2 weeks away now. It is halfway between Battleground and Night of Champions. And I gotta say, last year's King of the Ring is going to pale in comparison to this year's, just looking at the participants involved thus far. 2 of them being the 2 men in the ring right now. 2 men who I honestly believe are quite underrated, perhaps could be potential dark horses in the King of the Ring tournament. We've got the former tag team champion, Zack Ryder, and then we've got Curtis Axel, who, I mean, if you remember correctly, last year around Survivor Series, he was competing, going to war against Daniel Bryan with Paul Heyman in his corner, although he has since split away from Paul Heyman, now teaming up with Damian Sandow. Curtis Axel, you got to think Paul Heyman may still have, I don't know what type of relationship is left there. If Paul Heyman sort of sees Axel as, okay, he's, you know, does Paul Heyman just see him as another superstar on the roster, or does he have some sort of hatred towards Curtis Axel for just kind of walking away? Or perhaps it could be the other way around. Maybe they are still good friends, and perhaps Paul Heyman has a bit of a good influence on the behalf of Curtis Axel. Not quite too sure, but regardless, Curtis Axel did qualify for the King of the Ring tournament by defeating R-Truth on an episode of Main Event last week. Zack Ryder, he qualified by defeating R-Truth's tag team partner, The Miz. So both of these men, they have defeated members of Awesome Truth. Wait a minute. Cover by Ryder, but a kick out at 1 from Axel. Axel, of course, has battled for the United States Championship in the past. Zack Ryder has done the same. Although Ryder, he is a former tag team champion along with Jack Swagger. Perhaps it is time that Zack Ryder got back into the championship picture. And imagine if Zack Ryder could win the King of the Ring tournament. That would be a huge way for Ryder to bring himself back into the fray of Monday Night Raws. Look at Axel dropping the elbow right on the face of Zack Ryder. Axel now the cover. 1, 2, but no. Axel able, well, Ryder able to kick out, I should say. And Curtis Axel, I mean, he's come close to winning the United States Championship before. The triple threat match against his former tag team partner, Alberto Del Rio, and the current champ, Cesaro, can attest to that. Curtis Axel, very game performance in that matchup, but that's the last time we saw Axel in a championship match, and that was back in May. We did, however, see Curtis Axel in the Money in the Bank ladder match, and, well, he went straight to business. He was the first one down to the ring, grabbed the ladder, and nearly won the match before anybody else could even hit the ring, if it wasn't for Daniel Bryan there to stop him. But Curtis Axel, you can never count him out. He truly is a very gifted performer in the ring. And while he may not have the charisma that Zack Ryder has, I would have to say that Curtis Axel definitely would be the better of the two in terms of pure talent in the ring. But Zack Ryder, he certainly makes up for that with his unique form of offense. As right now, Ryder striking away. Went to drive the knee into the face, but Axel got out of the way. Follows it up with a bulldog. As Curtis Axel now picks Zack Ryder up to his feet. Axel now sends him into the turnbuckle there. And now Curtis Axel hooks him. Oh, face first goes Ryder. A reverse STO from Axel. The cover. 1, 2. No, another kick out by Ryder there as he's just able to hang on. But Axel right back on the attack. And that's what Curtis Axel has to do. A victory here tonight could mean the difference between a victory and defeat in the King of the Ring tournament. Momentum is critical heading into that event. As Ryder able to counter. Now going on the attack on Axel. Whips him off out of the corner. And now a sunset flip. The cover from Ryder. 1, 2. No! Axel able to kick out. Curtis Axel keeping himself alive in the match. But for how much longer will that be the case? Zack Ryder now has Axel. Neckbreaker there from Ryder. As Zack Ryder takes the offensive. And now he's setting up Curtis Axel in position. Perhaps setting him up for the Rough Rider. Here we go. No! Counter from Axel with a jawbreaker. And now Axel setting him up for that spinning neckbreaker, formerly known as the McGillicudder. And now a cover. 1, 2. No! Zack Ryder keeps himself in this matchup, and Axel with a bit of disbelief there, but he's got to go right back on the attack. Don't give Ryder any chance to recover, and he slams him back down to the mat. Does Axel. And now Curtis Axel perhaps looking to go high risk to the top rope. Ryder in prone position. Here we go. No! He was looking for the elbow drop from the top. Ryder, however, rolled out of the way just in the nick of time. And now, face buster. Axel planted into the center of the ring there. As Zack Ryder now up to the second rope. Look out behind you, Axel. Missile drop kick from Zack Ryder. And that one stunned Axel. Axel is down. Zack Ryder, now's the time to strike. He's got Axel reeling. And he spins him around now. Looking to lift him up for this reverse vertical DDT. And Zack Ryder now. We know what's coming next. Axel stumbling back to his feet. And he's in trouble. Rough Ryder. Rough Ryder connects. And that could spell the end for Curtis Axel tonight. Zack Ryder, he's been in the best shape of his career thus far. Could this be it? Indeed it is. Zack Ryder picks up a big victory tonight over Curtis Axel. And he continues his run of momentum. Ever since he made his return here in that Cesaro Open Challenge where he really just took the fight to Cesaro. I feel as though Ryder, he has been here, but I don't think we've really seen the true Zack Ryder in quite some time. But he's brought it out of himself in recent times. And I think Zack Ryder, he could just be a dark horse heading into this King of the Ring tournament. But the question is, can he get it done? Does he have what it takes to win it all? Ladies and gentlemen, it is now time for the main event of this evening. And this one features a match, a clash, between two former World Heavyweight Champions. It is the current #1 contender, the Viper, Randy Orton, set to go one-on-one with Captain Charisma, Christian. And boy, Christian, has he really been in a terrible mood as of late. I mean, even more than usual. I heard that backstage Christian got into a bit of a confrontation even with Edge. There was a bit of concern there from Christian as to the brief little reunion we saw of Rated RKO a couple of weeks ago. Christian, I gotta give credit for him though. He didn't have to go out here and just in the middle of the ring in front of thousands of people really just vent his grievances there. No, he kept it in the private confines of the locker room, but you know, rumors spread around like wildfire here in the WWE. And so, of course, eventually news got to me of this little skirmish. However, it seems as though the conflict has been resolved. Christian and Edge, they just had a bit of a chat. Don't know exactly to what extent the anger on the part of Christian was, but it seems as though Edge has calmed him down. And you gotta wonder as well, Christian, he's got to be feeling frustrated as well after Edge lost to Ryback at Night of Champions. And nonetheless, Christian, he's going to pursue the World Heavyweight Championship anyway, whether it was Edge or Ryback who won. But Edge did promise him that the two of them would face off for the world title one day. And Edge, he has failed on numerous occasions. Christian himself has failed on numerous occasions. The desperation combined between the two men has got to be reaching a boiling point. So it's understandable that tensions perhaps could be running high in that friendship. But for right now, at least, they've managed to keep things under control. But in the end, neither man is going to get an opportunity for the world title at Battleground because of this man, who defeated Rusev last night at Night of Champions in a #1 contenders match. And now we will be seeing a rematch from the rivalry that once took place for the Intercontinental Championship exactly 1 year ago. Last year, it was No Way Out, Randy Orton versus Ryback. Ryback, of course, retained the Intercontinental Championship then, and they went on to compete in a Survivor Series tag team matchup, which was won by Randy Orton. He was the sole survivor for his team, eliminating Ryback to win the match. And then, of course, who could forget their ladder match clash at TLC, which, of course, again, Ryback walked out of the winner. Randy Orton, though, he's got a huge opportunity to redeem his mistakes from last year, this time with the World Heavyweight Championship on the line. And you got to be thinking that Randy Orton would love to get back in the saddle. Last time he held the World Championship was Night of Champions of last year, where he lost the title back to Sheamus. So you have to think that Randy Orton, he is pretty desperate now. And you can even look back to this previous year in Universe Mode, where not only has Randy Orton failed on his occasions to even become _1 contender, but he has hardly been featured on SmackDown prior to being traded. And it was just the fact that, Orton, his status over on the blue brand just dropped. It fell that significantly that he was even struggling to get on programming. And Randy Orton, honestly, this move to Monday Night Raw was the greatest thing for his career at the moment. He goes from SmackDown being completely irrelevant to now coming over to Monday Night Raw and just on his first night even laying out Rusev, one of the top stars on Raw. Quickly, just like that, Orton, he's back in the fray. And it seems as though he's got his confidence back and he really has become the apex predator that he once was. So tonight these two opponents, they really were in very similar situations for a good portion of their career. We had Christian, of course, who at the moment is in perhaps his most desperate hour. Cover here by Christian. 2-1. Just a 1 count. And then we have Randy Orton, who just seems to be coming out of that little, that spell, that recession that he's had in his career. Let's look at this. Back body drop from Orton. But both of these men have really gone through the suffering this past year in Universe Mode. Christian has yet to get out of it, but a victory tonight over Randy Orton really could help him do just that, as he counters the neckbreaker there, sending Orton off, and a running forearm there from Christian. Both of these men as well have history with Ryback. Christian, of course. You gotta remember, Night of Champions of last year, bad history for Christian as well, where he hit Ryback with 3 kill switches, a feat that has now since become one of the more famous moments in Universe Mode. Ryback kicking out of all 3, and he went on to retain the Intercontinental Championship. And of course, back at Money in the Bank, more recent history, Christian faced Ryback one-on-one and lost. So Christian really has got to do a lot of work to really regain that ground he has lost since losing the world title. Orton lights him up with a chop there. You can hear that one echo throughout the arena. The crowd certainly get behind it. And Orton, 3rd time's the charm. Another chop to Christian. And that is vintage Randy Orton right there. The Viper's ego, again, taking center stage as he backs Christian into the corner there. And again, Randy Orton lights up Christian with a chop. And Christian, man, he can't be feeling too good after that one. That certainly does not tickle. As way to counter there from Christian. Orton off the ropes. Hurricanrana. He's got him rolled up on his shoulders. 1, 2. No. Orton just able to kick out. But that was a close call there for Christian. And now a chop from Christian. Returning the favor. Now backs Orton into the corner. And another chop. And another one. Christian, he is furious now. Orton has just pissed him off. And Christian, if he wasn't desperate enough, you definitely don't want to make him even angrier, because anger and desperation are a terrible combination. Very destructive, as Christian could get the... No. Kick out by Orton at 2. Orton just able to keep himself in the mix. But Christian definitely turning this match in his favor. As Orton off the ropes. Leapfrog from Christian. And another one. And a rolling... I can't even talk now. A reverse elbow. If I could find the right word. As Christian now scaling to the top rope. Here we go. No, wait! RKO! RKO out of nowhere from Randy Orton. Christian never even saw it coming, but he put himself in prime position for that one. And just like that, Randy Orton, he's going to score the win here. Hooks the leg. 1, 2... What? How the hell did Christian kick out of that? Randy Orton can't believe it any more than I can. What is Orton gonna have to do to put Christian away? to Orton's credit, he's not wasting any time, going right back on the attack with a vintage backbreaker there. And now Randy Orton, if anything, this might just give him more pleasure in dissecting Christian with his sadistic style of offense. Randy Orton now, he can just slowly pick Christian apart. Well, I don't know if Christian's even going to be able to come back from that. That could have just been on instinct alone, on his pure willpower that Christian kicked out. But right now, he is just open to attack from Randy Orton, as Orton just stomped him there in the gut. And he picks him up. There's a slam there, taking him down. And another cover by Orton. 1, 2, but no, another kick out by Christian. Somehow Christian's still in this thing, but no, and now he's even mustering some offense. Look at this, Christian, DDT. Christian has managed to get back on the attack here in this matchup, and this just goes to show how this whole situation really has just changed Christian. He's become incredibly more desperate, and he's been working his ass off to really get back to that World Heavyweight Championship. And all these losses, all the defeats, that's the same thing. Basically everything that Christian has had to go through since losing that championship seems to have made him stronger than he ever was before, and certainly much, much more aggressive. As you can see there with those repeated elbow shots to the top of Orton's skull, perhaps trying to bust him open. Fortunately, he did not, as Orton, with a side Russian leg sweep, taking Christian down. And now Randy, well, here's that moment where Orton can dissect Christian, stomping away at every open body part, and now right to the forehead of Christian. And now Randy, oh no, Orton to the corner, a punt kick to Christian. Oh my God, that might have... He was trying to end Christian's career there. He busted him open, cover, and of course this is it. Oh my God. Randy Orton channeling a side of himself that we haven't seen in who knows how long. Christian, his hopes of ever winning the World Heavyweight Championship might have just gone up in smoke right there. Well, that's it for this episode. I hope you all enjoyed it. We'll get news on Christian's condition next time. I'll let you dance to your own vindictive blah. For now, though, I've got to settle to score.